Honestly, I had no clue what I was in store for in this film, and I gotta say, I left out very entertained. Let's jump into my review of the new film, Barbarian. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the film Barbarian, which is going to be releasing in theaters September 9th. Yeah, so I clearly got that this film was a horror. I clearly like the cast, Bill Skarsgård and Georgina Campbell, even Justin Long, who really shook things up in the second half of the film. But I did not expect for me to come out this film entertained. It's a good mixture of horror, it's a good mix of comedy, and it's very unpredictable. Keeps you guessing, keeps you at the edge of your seat. Really bringing the horror elements full circle, using a lot of different tropes, if I must say. I mean, when you think about the shark, or if you think about the subgenre of what type of horror film this is, I mean, you think haunted house, but then you also can kind of add the surrealism in horror, like the likely societal surrealism in terms of that horror aspect. There's ideas that makes you think that it could be demonic at times, and then it sort of becomes a creature feature, which then that's just a whole nother thing in its own. And then that also still sorts to kind of go back into like the surrealism aspect of it, and which this combination of all of this really gives you a good, almost a thriller, really good atmospheric horror. The cinematography giving you this sort of video game sort of feeling. They have this first person, they have like a second person, which is like right behind the person filming. They got these really cool panning shots that I was really digging. The low light shots were really creepy. And overall it just came together, I thought, very solid. But that's what I liked about the film. What I did not like about the film was sort of towards the third act of the film, where I felt like things started to just really go off the rails. I feel like the human element was just kind of thrown out of the window. Like, there's certain, at least for me, I feel like there's certain responses to certain events, and I feel like no one heed their warning, and there was a lot of sort of dumb decisions being made. A lot of things that was very foreshadowing. I mean, and then it became predictable at elements of it, in which the whole beginning part of the film was completely on the contrary to that. So I was kind of just thinking, like, how did we get here? But in terms of the comedy, the continuity was perfectly fine. Like, it worked. But like in terms of the horror, it was just like, oh, it's working. You don't know what's happening. You don't really know sort of just who the creature is, or the demonic presence, whatever it may be. And then once a lot of it started to reveal itself, then especially to the characters as well too, it was kind of just like, wait, you're not making wise decisions here. And the moment you can't get behind and rally behind our protagonists in terms of the fear for their situation, that becomes problematic for the viewers. And I think that's what I was starting to lose interest in terms of the horror element to it. Because I'm like, listen, if you're gonna do, play stupid games, get stupid rewards. So that was sort of the thing with me on that. But I really did enjoy the film. I really had a good time. Again, I thought the cast really had good chemistry with one another in the early part of the film. Bill, who plays Keith, and Georgina, who plays Tess. Tess is written at Airbnb. She gets to the Airbnb and somebody else has written it too, and that happens to be Keith. And like, they're very awkward sort of just interactions that they have with one another really sends you in the swirling pit of like what is going on and what's going to happen. It's also sort of a surrealism aspect of written Airbnbs. What happens if you do show up to an Airbnb and somebody's in there? It's completely possible, and it's capable of happening. But then beyond that, it's a woman and a male, and you start to see Keith sort of just make these very awkward interactions with her. So you start to wonder, like, what is he up to? And then there's a whole nother danger looming here. So like, there's a lot of different things, and they play against each other very well, kept you guessing. I mean, at times you thought Tess might have been feeling him, then you thought Keith may try something with her, and then you kind of see them on the same side as other danger is looming. It's a lot of different things kind of going on. I mean, again, the haunted house aspect of it really kept you guessing in terms of what's next. And then like the demonic side of it is because like in one scene, like the door just opens and you're just like, okay, well, who did that? You know what I mean? So yeah, again, it uses a lot of different things. And the first part of the film is that. The second part of the film introduces you to AJ, who's played by Justin Long, who has like some accusations, very cringy accusations attached to him, which he decides to get off the grid by going to his house that he owns to kind of lay low. Well, the house that he owns happens to be the Airbnb that he rents, and he was told that nobody was renting it. So you're just like, well, wait a minute, what? There's no record of who's renting this, so like that aspect to it. And then the third act then sends you about the history of the property, and that's where just everything gets crazy and goes off the rails. Like it's really where we really get introduced to the creature and what's to come with the creature. And I gotta say, like, I thought the jump scares were pretty solid. The atmospheric horror was really good. The creature design was not nothing I haven't seen before. I mean, this is truly channeling grown-up female version of Smeagol. Like, really. So like, I wasn't overly impressed by it. And then like, oh, the Detroit cops, they're just trash. Like for everything else that was kind of happening in the film, their presence in this film just really just angered you, because it was just so like, what? But I also say the set location, the house that they used was dope. The surroundings of it really actually helped really make that house even more creepy without even anything happening. And again, it just kind of kept you guessing because you just really didn't know what was going to happen. The gore was pretty solid. But again, nothing really over the top, nothing you haven't really seen before. And overall, I thought it was entertaining. It did not disappoint. But again, I had really no expectations. I just thought I wanted to see a good horror film with some good, solid acting and so on. And I enjoyed the dialogue in the first part of the film. The second part, I thought things were definitely just, the toning of that just got really comedic at times. And I think the continuity between the acts is there, but like it just really run off the rails. You're just like, well, okay, well, gotta bring it home, so you might as well pedal to the metal and do what you gotta do. But I think a lot of people's gonna like this film. I really do. I think a lot of people are gonna be really surprised by what they get. But overall, I think in terms of the craft of the film, I think it's totally worth a watch. So by all means, go check out Barbarian in theaters September 9th. Be prepared to be surprised, because you will be. But once you do check it out, jump in the comments, folks, and let me know your thoughts about the film. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.